Start recording.
Hey, can somebody call IS?
Yeah. Okay, Melanie, can you stop sharing your screen and we can get this? We can keep this thing moving.
Yeah.
Perfect. There's everyone. Well, Danny, everyone. Wait, no. Jerry's sharing now. What is going on?
This is a 2-hour meeting, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, because we're going to get to hour 2 and I won't even finish the intro yet. Danny, welcome. I think you can tell by the group that's gathered, we're going to hopefully have some fun. Holly, thank you also for joining us. Great to see you guys. It's great to see everyone to come together. Like I was saying before, this is, maybe a first for a lot of us. And I'm back in the dark again. I don't know why the light's changing. Sorry. Jerry, you're sharing again. Jerry.
We do praying hands. Like I tell my kids, praying hands. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. So anyway, let me see if I can kick him off by trying to share some content. How about that? Yeah. All right. Now, did that work? Good. All right. I booted him out.
Sure.
Sweet. So Danny, again, let's try and get this thing going. We're here to have some fun. We've got a bunch of people, and we want to share some stories, and we want to just show some appreciation, show some love, how much you've meant to us over the years. So hopefully, everyone on the phone gets a chance to be able to talk. And the great thing about it, obviously, we'd love to be in person, but with this format, as you can tell, we're going to get the chance to get creative with our technological capabilities. So hopefully, we'll be able to share some videos and pictures. We've been gathering them over the last couple weeks, and like that video, Melanie's got a folder where we've got a bunch of stuff that we've been able to collect over the years. Most of it's stuff that you've done because what you've been able to produce, both professionally for clients and obviously looking very good, but then also the fun stuff. And I think that's a lot of what the folks on the phone remember is a lot of the fun stuff that you've been able to put together. So hopefully all this goes well, and we'll see what happens. But as we get towards the end, want to hear from you guys as well. John Atz is joining us, and he wants to share some thoughts. But it should be a fun time, and who knows what's going to happen. The thing we do know, it's being recorded, so whatever gaffe or mix-up we have, we'll be able to share for posterity. Should be a good time. Okay, so we've already gotten one. I'll start first to be the second guinea pig. But all right, so let me see if I can actually pull this off. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about how we came to being on this call. Most of it's made up in fiction, but we've got some good material, so why let the facts ruin a good story? So we're sitting here on Teams, but we actually tried. We were thinking about having this, all together. We found a place in Jupiter, and it was right next to this guy's house, and I'm not sure they were too happy about it. So I'm going to share you some footage from the conversation we had.
Try again, Dave. It didn't.
Oh, it didn't do it.
No, try again.
See, this is why I'm the guinea pig, so that when we share, we can include computer sound. You do it that way. So obviously, not what happening. That guy's special.
No, you listen to canal. We've had enough. We've already sat through these meetings.
I remember that.
Anywhere else except my backyard.
Yeah, we were going to be right in his backyard.
Have you? All right.
We probably needed Jerry for that. We then tried to get some input from Chris. That was all we got. It wasn't very helpful. Expected more. There's been a lot, it was supposed to be outside. This group got together and totally did not think that was a good idea with all the hurricanes coming through. It's just a really really bad idea. So we ended up running around these guys. And this is kind of where we got with our planning, and so we ended up. All right, so that was Danny. That was all stuff I found, and I'm sure that was all your creation, your genius. But I did find myself as I was going through a lot of the things that you've done over the years. It's just there's so much fun, there's so much joy in what you've done. So it was a great trip down memory lane, and thank you for everything you've done. So for me, thank you very much. It's been awesome working with you.
Thank you.
So all right, who wants to follow that debacle? Alyssa, you wanna try?
Thanks. I get to clean up. Okay, cool.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to play a dual role today, and because there's somebody who wanted to be here but was not able to be here, and she had a big part in Danny's representation here. So I'm going to read this because she wrote it out, and obviously she didn't get the memo about keeping it short. So stick with me. I didn't write this or edit it. And this is from Trisha Baritica. So she sends her love. She said, "It's truly hard to believe it's been 21 years since I hired Danny Finch as a graphic designer in our West Palm Beach office. Although Danny and I only worked together for 5 years during that time, he made a tremendous impact in KH's business across the firm. Many people probably don't realize some of the things Danny did for the entire firm early in his career, such as help us recognize the production advantage of dual monitors." So everybody who's got a dual monitor, you can thank Danny for it. And there's a whole discussion. So if you want me to, I can put this in later, but we'll kind of go past that. Trained designers across all of the regions in InDesign, and I can see several of the designers from other regions who are on. So I think that's a testament to what Trish is saying, Danny's input across the firm. Persuaded the firm to purchase Apple laptops. And as you can see that video from 2003, that was a long quest that Danny had, right? How long did you try to get the IT guys to recognize Apple?
Well, after doing a lot of the production on kickoffs, I think I talked to Terry at one point, and so that was when we had the one and only Mac laptop, but it served us well for many years.
How many years did you talk to Terry into finally getting an Apple?
Well, it took a little bit of cajoling, but we worked it out. And this was back in the days when the Mac had a little bit of an edge on video production than on the PC. But a few years later, Windows came to be every bit as good as far as the Adobe Premiere and After Effects and all those other tools that we all use today. But
yeah.
Chris is back there strongly disagreeing with you right now.
So, but the other thing was, creating video-rich and creative annual kickoff meetings. I mean, Melanie, that was the perfect intro, because so many of my memories have a lot to do with that particular kickoff, because I think that was the one time where we were really able to have a lot of fun with a kickoff and theme it and bring it in. And I see John there, and my one failure at Kimley Horn was I was not able to convince John to wear a pair of Jim Morrison leather pants for kickoff that year. He just would not do it. So, but again, you were the creative director over all of that for, the last 2 decades. And again, I'm going back to what Trish wrote, said you made so many of us laugh so many times and helped us create dramatic moments using your background and drama in our events. Thank you for being so much fun and for the memories of those experiences. Danny, you worked hard to support practice on so many public hearings and workshops and always did the extra effort needed to make Kimley Horn look our best. Danny, you are truly one of a kind. We will miss your creative design, thoughtful ideas, and push for quality improvement in our business. Thank you for always doing your best and pushing us to work smarter in our efforts to stay competitive. Wishing you and your family a wonderful retirement. So that's from Trisha. I'll send you the whole thing because Trisha, she went into detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, that kickoff was important. It was really special to me because I remember I think it was probably the night before. Here we had done all of this work. We had this great theming. We got into the room, and it was a Marriott conference ballroom, and it was boring and bland. And we were like, "What are we going to do?" And somehow we came up with the idea. We found these big blow up guitars. I bought out every one of them at every party store in Palm Beach County. And between the bunch of us, I don't know if you remember blowing these things up that night, Danny, and we stuck them on anything that didn't move. And when we walked in the next morning, it looked fun and it was great. And I remember Brooks Peed coming and going, "What did you guys do?" And I was like, "I bought out every one in every party store." And he said, "How much did that cost?" I said, "Brooks, they were like $2 a piece." He was like, "Perfect. My favorite thing, peppy and cheap." But again, it was taking something that was, a serious business event and making it fun and carrying it all the way through. And your love of music, I think, was the best part of it because, it had to start with Zeppelin. Right? And a little bit of Beatles. So that event was just completely quintessentially you. Thank you, because it's one of my fond memories.
Nice.
So with that, I will thank you, and thank you on behalf of Trisha.
Yeah, I mean, much like a good Super Bowl coach, I've got a script, some people scripted out to jump in, but feel free or raise your hand or use the features. I mean, we can make this organic, or I can run the play. So, well, running the play, Jim. If you've got.
Thank you, David. Danny, tech buddy. We had some great conversations regarding technological things over the years, but I just want to emphasize to everybody that I talked to about what your impact to Kimley Horn was, especially strong for the West Palm Beach Roadway Design Group, because public sector projects, when we win big roadway projects with DOT, it really comes down to four things: relationships, the quality of the work that we're doing, the technical approaches to a project, but the fourth, and probably equally important as all the others, was the presentation, the show, as I would call it. And the things that we learned from you were keep your slides simple. Engineers can't do that. Keep your slides visually consistent and meaningful. Choose the appropriate fonts and colors, and test technology, because you don't want to have a hiccup in the middle of a presentation. And finally, being prepared for just about anything that could be thrown at you. You did all of that and more. It made us really, really look good. And you had an equal participation in all of our wins. I mean, you took technical drawings of structures and details and stuff that can be boring, and you just kind of, you put a Danny Finch into them. You made them vibrant. You made them alive, and really appreciate it. So you always push the envelope as well on new ways of being creative. And in fact, one of the things that happens is when the presentations are over, they get to be public documents and they can be viewed by all the other consultants in the industry. You would be amazed how many other consultants mimic what you created. And that's a testament to the work that you did. A little story that sticks in my brain about you is, if you recall being up at District 5, that's in DeLand, Florida.
Yeah.
Been to DeLand. We were always notorious for doing last-minute rehearsals, right, Jerry? Last-minute rehearsals, slide edits, things like that the night before a presentation. And the one thing that we had to do is we had to put together a package to be delivered along with the presentation that we were doing the next morning. And here we are making edits the night before. I remember the one where in DeLand, there is no Kinko's. There's no Kinko's to be found, and that's open in the middle of the night. We finished about 2 in the morning. Danny drove to Orlando. He spent 2 hours printing, collating, binding, getting everything together. Finally got back to the hotel in DeLand, which is a 40-minute drive, by the way. 5 in the morning, only to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to be prepared to rehearse our final rehearsals before we go. If that's not showing everybody the dedication you had, I can't think of a better story. So really, really appreciate it. So, so what has been your impact to us? In the West Palm Beach Design Division, we probably can attribute $150 million worth of projects over the years that you've been a vitally important part of. So thank you for all of that. And thank you for making this all successful. And I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. You know, I had some ideas written down, but one of the things that, I love this. So if any of you know what this room is in the West Palm Beach office, it serves many purposes. So it is the prayer room, it is the pumping room, and it is our recording studio. And sometimes those would overlap, and we had to be a little careful. So what I always love to do to Danny is sometimes I would get down there, he'd call me and say, hey, you know, let's go record, because I do voiceovers for a lot of the presentations that we have for our public meetings. And nobody does it as well as Danny, seriously, splicing all this stuff together. So I would jump down there before him, and he always thought he got there before me. So I can't tell you how many times I probably made him about die, because he'd open it and I'd say, I'm pumping, don't open the door. I'm sorry, it was sick humor, but I had to get him. So yeah, there was, I think that was probably our last time, Danny. That was such a blast. I think one of the things I love about you is your sense of humor. I think what makes Kimley Horn special is the people and not taking life so seriously. And you were always great at thinking of, you know, you always put the spin on creative words, like anything that started with a K sound, he put in the KH. So a lot of the stuff that we would see in our emails or kickoff or whatever, it would be because of Danny. And also, you know, I want to say, you know, you and I share in our faith, and I always appreciate you contributing and being a part of us holding our Christmas luncheon, which is a non-Kimley Horn event. But I think there might be a picture of you and Melanie. Yeah, it looks like Danny's really hot there. He's in front of the fire. It's very warm in the training room. But those were fun memories, and I hope you can continue coming to those. You know, probably this year it'll be virtual. But he's burning his hands there. You know what I'm going to miss the most though is I could be, you know, having the toughest day, and I would hear Danny and Melanie and that cackle and them laughing, and it just puts you in the best mood. I just love that. You always, you know, you could be having a stressful day and you still would find joy in whatever. But as you know, everything you've done is so much behind the scenes, and I want people to realize, you know, all of the meetings that we had. If you weren't there, I don't know how I would have pulled them off. You were doing so much, and the client knows you were doing it, but the people didn't know it that came. And that's kind of the way it should be. So before I start crying, I just want to say, sorry, I had to throw that in, but I'm going to miss you. And you're close by geographically, right. So we hope to see you. And thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Marcia.
Oh, am I on? Danny.
Marcia.
All right. It's so quiet here now. Well, my story, I have a story to share with everyone. It's sort of along the lines of Jim's, though this it must have been before Jim because, and I'll tell you why. Again, Danny and I were helping them rehearse at some crazy time up in Orlando. And it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when it came time for us to print the brochures, or not the brochures, print the handouts for the big presentation. Must have been to the Turnpike. And we were rehearsing at at the Marriott in Orlando. for whatever group we had there, we couldn't fit in the old Orlando office. So, but I had it all figured out because, you know, we were going to have to, we knew we were going to have to print these handouts at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, but I knew that Orlando was such a big metropolis that they would have all these 24-hour Kinkos handy all over town. And this must have been 15 years or so ago. And the truth was, no, Orlando does not have one single 24-hour Kinko anywhere to be found. And we're driving around to all these Kinkos and and he's doing the driving and they're all closed and we're freaking out. How are we going to print out the handouts? It's 1 o'clock. It's, 1:30. It's 2 o'clock. And then finally I'm like, we got to go to the office. But then we look at each other. How are we going to get in? And how are we going to get in? And so I'm like, well, we got to call Amy. We got to call Amy. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to call her. You call her. He's like, I'm not going to call her. You call her. Finally, I don't know. Seniority went out because I'm like, you call her. You call her. So Danny had her number to her house. 2 o'clock in the morning, he calls Amy's cell phone. The phone's ringing and ringing and ringing. And then this man answers, hello, hello. And then Danny's like, And then you hear this man go, who's Danny Finch? It was Amy's husband. And he answered the phone and Danny Finch's name popped up on her 2 a.m. call. So anyway, so we got Amy up at 2 o'clock in the morning. She came to the Orlando office, let us in, helped us put together the handouts. It must have been for one of the big Turnpike presentations. And I do think we won it. So that was worth it. But that was
Danny was
one of
the
my
original Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, that was definitely. Danny and I had a lot of those over the years, a lot of some, but the technology got better, so we all had the keys to the office and the printers. So that's all I can say about that. But you remember that? I hope you remember that time. That was.
I do, and I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but I'm sorry Paul isn't on the call because he told me this story about. And I think I was there at the presentation, maybe in Tallahassee, but Steve Godfrey was the PM and Paul had given his portion of the presentation. And when he was done, he came back to where I was with the projector and all that. And Steve Godfrey's talking and Paul goes to me, get a pen and paper. So I got it for him. And he wrote this word on a piece of paper. And he held it up so that Godfrey could see what the paper was. He was trying to coach him a little bit. And Steve is doing that awkward, like shaking his head like a dog. What is that? And he never really understood what it was. And as soon as we were done with the presentation and the Q&A, he runs to the back of the room and almost chokes Paul Cherry and says, what the hell did that say? All I could think of was 5 mile. And Paul said, no, you idiot. I was telling you to smile at the presentation, not 5 mile.
Hi, everyone. Sorry to interrupt all the stories, but it's Chloe, Danny's daughter.
Hello.
Chloe.
Hey.
Hi.
Where are you hiding?
I'm called in from my phone.
Oh, we're glad that you could call in and join. Thank you, Chloe, for joining.
Hey, Chloe.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. Just wanted to say hi to everyone and happy retirement to my dad. He has unlimited time to mow the lawn now. He's so happy about that. But we have so many fun memories as a family going to all the Kinley Horn picnics over the summer and riding the jet skis and the Christmas snow day with a pile of fake snow in the parking lot. It was a lot of fun over the years.
And we would get a family preview of the kickoff. Like after kickoff was over, we want to see what he'd been working on. And so we'd bring home, it was a big deal. My mom would come over, we'd have dinner, we'd watch your kickoff video and enjoy it as a family. Applause, brilliant.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then as I got older, like every time I would come visit the office, everyone's like, "Oh, you're Danny's daughter. We love him so much. We love your dad." I was like, "Okay, calm down. He's okay."
Chloe, I remember when there was like Bring Your Kid to Work Day, and this is when I think I first started working at Kimley Horn, and you came to work and you had dressed in your best like business attire, and I think, I don't know, like you were like 10, but it was so cute.
Yeah.
It was adorable. Yeah, you had on like little heels and everything. It was, I mean, the cutest. And then you asked your dad, you said, "Dad, is Melanie in college?" And I like that. I still remember that.
That's why you're her favorite, Chloe.
I'm glad you remember that. I remember asking my dad that, and I didn't know why he laughed at me.
So great.
Well, thanks for calling in, Chloe.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. That's special.
Yeah, just wanted to say, I'll let you guys go, but once again, thanks so much for being great coworkers to my dad over the years. He has so many great Kimley Horn memories. It's so rare that someone can work one job for so long, and but we're happy to have them all to ourselves now.
Yeah.
So we can fly to New York and see you more often.
Oh.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, Chloe.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Chloe.
Bye, Chloe.
Chloe.
That was awesome.
Yes. for
College, huh, Melanie? College?
Yeah. College. You know. You can't get away with that now.
We need to move on. We need to not. Chris, got anything? You want to? So I don't dig myself a hole too deep that I can't get out of.
You're on mute.
Mute myself. Danny, the first day that I started at Kimley Horn, and a lot of people have heard this story before, because and for me it was very abrupt. But anyway, I'm sitting there plugging away. He gives me a project, the first project I'd been given, and I'm plugging away on it and I'm working on it. And it's a cover, and I really want to make it good. I want to make it, impressive, so that, he sees that I can actually do this thing. So I'm working on it all day and really sweating over it. And I just want to get the first design comp over to him. And I'd say it was about 3:30. And he comes over to me and he says, "That's really great, but Chris, we've got to get this out today." I looked at him and I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Go out today. You remember this, Danny?"
Barely.
Well, I had come from an ad agency world where, these things it would go through a committee, and that'd take a week. And then it would come back and you'd do another several comps, and each one of those comps you'd go through a committee again. And then you'd do finals, and then you'd go through QC checks, and it would go through that committee again. So then, it would then finally, after maybe a month, it would go out for print. And then, the print job, we'd have to go watch the press and make sure that everything was done correctly. It was a time-consuming process. So Danny looks at me and he says, you do great work, Chris, but we got a problem. I'm like, oh shit, what have I done wrong? And he says, we got to get this done today. Today? Hell, it won't be done for a month. And he said, why? I said, because it's got to go out to print. He says, no, we're going to print it over. And he points to the copier. And I'm like, what? You remember? I had never done anything like that in my life. I didn't know even how to do it. You remember the day?
I do.
You thought I was retarded or something.
I'm
It
thinking
was fun.
Lucy on the chocolate line. He's just eating them.
Anyway, that's it. It's been wonderful working with you through the years.
I do remember fondly, there was a time when we were in the Embarcadero office on the second floor, and it was you and Melanie and me and Patrice. And Melanie was damn near 9 months pregnant. And she went to the bathroom, and she comes running into the room, and there's 2 cubicles with an aisleway in between them, and she does a full-out duck and tumble. 9 months pregnant, and she just gets up and does a ta-da. And I think it took 5 minutes for Chris and I to stop laughing.
We couldn't believe it.
It was
a little move I learned in the Army. Wanted you to know I could still do it.
Okay, Melanie, it's your turn for the what's that song you used to sing all the time?
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
There you go.
Yeah, John Atz is part of this story. I don't think he quite realizes that. But Chris and I used to be in the old Embarcadero building. We had these cubicles that had these high walls. So when someone walked in the graphics room, you couldn't see who it was that walked in, and you actually couldn't really tell someone had walked in. Well, Chris and I, we typically would just kind of shoot the breeze back and forth as we were working throughout the day. It involved a lot of singing sometimes, and I was just in the middle of one of my Blood, Sweat, and Tears renditions, and I got interrupted by the voice of John Atz. He goes, "Well, is this what goes on in graphics?" And I was just going, "Thank you, baby." I don't know if you remember that, but I was pretty young in the company, and you walk in, catch me singing Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and I still feel a little like trauma. But yeah, you were pretty good natured about it. It was good. It's a funny memory. All right, who's supposed to go next, Dave?
That's the end of my scripted play. Hopefully we're up like 35 to 9 right now. So.
Okay, well, hold on. I have some pictures. Hold on.
Hey, this is Paul Cherry. Can you hear me?
There he is.
Paul Cherry.
Oh.
Hey. Gosh,
Hey.
I didn't have a Danny Finch to help me. I was helpless.
What's going on, Paul?
Well, actually, I was babysitting, and that's I was babysitting my grandson, who's 1, and my granddaughter, who is 6 months. I had to fill in for Pat while she was gone, so now I'm free and clear. So, how's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Good.
You should have just walked down to the other block, Paul. You could have joined the laptop with me and Jerry Piccolo.
I really should have done that. I didn't know you were home.
So I didn't know that I was actually going. I thought I was responding to Chris's.
Well, keep rolling, Melanie. You're Mike is yours. Roll with
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm good with that. It's fine. Okay. All right. So, Cal was on earlier. All right. So he came and do you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came and visited us for a week. That was pretty cool. He I don't know if you guys saw, he was on the call. He had to jump off. So there's that. And then I'm sorry. So this was a fun, I actually might have to reshare that and make sure that I turned on include computer sound. So much technical stuff, and no Danny to help me. Okay. All right.
I know.
You get some food.
So you can hear Danny's amazing laugh in this, which I love. This is me in a T-Rex suit. We all stroll through roadway. I stole their food and I tried to eat it and I couldn't reach my mouth.
You can't put it in your mouth.
You hear his laugh. I love that laugh. That's so great. Okay. So we did several kickoffs together. We always took a kickoff selfie of some kind. Those were really fun. Yeah. So cute. There is Patrick Ramos. He's on the call. Patrick, we wanted you to look natural in this photo, but unfortunately. Yeah, Patrick came. Man, what year was that, Patrick, when you came?
August of 2004.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Well, you were the one, couldn't remember if it was you or Cal, had to get on a plane and actually beat a hurricane that was on its way. Like that.
Yes.
That was you? Okay.
That was me.
Wow.
I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, and first week went by, had a great time, learning from all of you. Second week starts, and by Wednesday, everyone's, well, I gotta go, gotta board up the house. And I was just kind of like, what do I do? My flight doesn't leave until Saturday. And the hurricane was supposed to be hitting, I think, early Saturday morning.
Good memory.
So, yeah, they had to hurry up and get me out.
We wanted to give you the full Florida experience.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Year, wasn't it?
Wasn't
that a bad hurricane that year?
Yeah,
Francis.
There was a bunch of bad ones. Yeah.
Is that Francis?
It's like 3 in a row, right? Charlie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Francis, Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wilma.
Well, that was the next year.
Charlie, Francis, Ivan, Jean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just I think the memories that I have with Danny, they're just like there's an abundance of them. And like Lisa mentioned, like he and I would get each other going, and Chris would be, getting us going too, and we'd just get to laughing. And then all of a sudden I'd get a call from Lisa Stone, and she'd be like, "What is going on over there?" That was our cue to quiet down. We gotta quiet down. Yeah, so there was just always such fun and camaraderie in the group, and all the presentations, the late night presentation rehearsals. I see Gary Nadeau there, Jim Sumislawski, and like all the guys that we had all this late night presentation rehearsals. And when you're like in it like that, you're in it together. You spend hours and hours and hours in one room all together, and we got to know some of these guys really well, and had a lot of fun along the way. A lot of stressful things along the way, like equipment failures and things like that, and when it's go time for a presentation, and things that make you want to throw up, but yeah, we would always get through it, and then of course come back together and tell each other the tale later. But yeah, I mean, when I think of Kimley Horn, I'll always think of my time with Danny Finch.
Oh,
because I mean, I've always said that to everybody that has asked me about my job, that I have the best boss in the world.
Oh,
thank you.
Hey, Danny, this is Paul. When did you join? What year?
1999.
99. Yeah.
Party like it's 1999.
Well, and I take full credit. I take full credit for bringing Danny on board, incidentally.
That's right.
The same church, and yep.
Yeah, it was through church. You never know when you're going to find a nugget and where you're going to find it, and it turns into a diamond.
Well, Paul, I'm sure, with that, I'm sure you've got something locked and loaded, ready to share with the group. You're good for a spin and a yarn or two.
Well, I can tell you a few things. Back in the day when Danny first started, we didn't have the ability to generate three-dimensional models like we do now. And so I studied art in school. And so like, for example, I'll use one, Flagler Memorial Bridge. You know, it used to have a bridge over top of Flagler, and we were eliminating it. And so in order to communicate it to the people, we had to do a computer enhanced image of it after it was all done. So I would draw up this really rough sketch, and Danny would take it, and I'll tell you, it looked like a photograph when he was done with it. And we started to use that on presentations, and it helped us win many, many jobs because it's a little easier if somebody can see what we're talking about. And then, of course, the technology got more sophisticated. Danny, remember that 203rd Street one? They wanted to tear down Murray's Interchange, and we came up with a nifty idea how to do it.
Yeah.
And we had never communicated that without the way you were able to create that, that image. When people looked at it, they just I don't think they even cared about the other two presenters. Because everybody else wanted to tear Murray's Interchange down, and we're the only one that came up with a solution. They would have never figured it out with that sort of thing. I think the other thing with me and Danny is that, well, we both respect people around us, but we share a common spiritual blessing. I'll put it that way. And you don't know how many times I would go into Danny's office and I would say, Danny, we need to say a prayer for somebody because they're hurting. And he and I would just take a minute and we would do that. And we wouldn't do it in a way that we were pompous and arrogant. We were just doing it because of the love of the people that we worked with. And I think that's probably one of the more dominant things about Danny is, and I say this occasionally, you're lucky if you meet a dozen real gentlemen in your life, people that are sincerely kind, that are sincerely interested in other people. And I'm fortunate to say that Danny is on that very short list that I have of people that I call a gentleman.
Thank you, Paul.
That's great. That's great. Brian, I think you had something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I figured I'd share something that honestly I don't know that anybody else on this call would have insight to this, and it's just different than all the other things that we've brought up. The side of Danny that everybody knows, and so to me it's a great example of you just never know all the ways somebody is making an impact. It was 2009. I'm a part of the Economic Council of Palm Beach County. In 2009, I was a co-chair of this event called the Dwyer Awards for Excellence in Education. And then in 2010, I was the chair. Well, we were looking at how to make the event better and how better to relate to the public, have the audience and the teacher population that we were trying to show appreciation to, have them really feel how special it was. And one of the things that we noticed is a lot of the branding, the formatting, a lot of things like that were just really old and tired and amateur. And we said, it sure would be nice if we could find a way to have all of the branding get across how special this really is. And so I thought, well, who could I turn to for advice and expertise on this kind of thing? And Danny was one of the very first people that came to mind. When I talked to Danny about it just to see if he would be interested, he said, I really am. I've been thinking about looking for a way to make an impact in the community. And this sounds like a perfect opportunity, a way that maybe I could help. Well, so through that effort, we walked through the materials that the Dwyer Awards used. We talked about all sorts of different elements of the event, and Danny was fully on board with that and absolutely helped transform the event. And I want to share one graphic, which to me just really gets across the point. So hopefully you can see my screen. This is the event as it is still branded today. So this is over a decade later, and the graphics you see, this flame that we use, Danny took a flame that was quite old and turned it into just a beautiful three-dimensional looking, very updated graphic, all of the fonts, all of this was his creation. And it is still being used today to get across how special this event is. And that's just one little piece of how Danny's touch completely transformed an event that is used in our community and has been over a decade and hits every year hundreds of people. And I just have to believe that all of that kind of talent, there are just so many different ways that we just all individually can't appreciate how many people he touches, what an impact it makes. Clients, internal, community type situations like this. And Danny, I just really want to thank you. Your talent and your soul lives on.
Thank you, Brian.
Very cool. Okay. Open mic, folks. Who wants to jump in?
Is Jerry still on?
Where's Jerry? We lost him. Did we lose him? Jerry? Jerry.
Hey, Paul.
Paul's muted, I think.
Paul's muted. He's on still though.
Okay.
Something's clicking.
Well, now's your chance, Danny. Let him have it.
I just like to repeat the story about the Steve Godfrey presentation. Paul, you remember when we were at a presentation, I think it was in Tallahassee somewhere, and Godfrey was given the presentation and he was so stoic and so serious about everything, and you whipped out a piece of paper from the back of the room and you wrote the word smile on the piece of paper. And it was like, I swear to God, it could have been a sitcom comedy, because Godfrey's looking at the team, the selectors, and he's looking back at you, holding up that sign, and his eyebrows are furrowed. And as soon as he was done with his presentation, he ran to the back of the room and got in your face and said, "What the hell does 5 mile mean?" And you said, "No, idiot, smile, smile."
I think one thing Paul always taught us is it's theater.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Oh, very cool. Who else wants to jump in?
Well, I just want to thank Kinley Horn for the lovely flowers. I don't know if you can see them. I'm holding up the camera.
Oh my God. Oh.
Beautiful.
Then thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It was very thoughtful.
Get it now?
We can hear you now, Paul.
Paul?
Am
Now we
I
can hear
on
Paul.
now?
Yes,
You can hear me?
yes, you are. Can hear you now.
Well, Danny, you mentioned the magic word, Steve Godfrey. My goodness. We were making a presentation and Danny was there helping with the graphics. So Steve Godfrey says, "Oh, I just have to go down to, I have to help in a public presentation, but I'll be back first thing in the morning." And so we get a call. He can't get on the airplane because there was a hurricane or something. So he calls me up. He said, "You're going to now be the project manager. You do what I did." I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm going on in 2 minutes here." He says, "Yeah, no, it was 2 hours rather." And so he started to talk me through it. And then, so I'm working with Danny, and Danny, we're rearranging, because I wouldn't present it the way Godfrey would, although he's a brilliant presenter. So in the last minute, Godfrey showed up, and we had to put everything back in. So many stories about Godfrey. It's unbelievable. But one of the things, I do want to tell you something about Danny. So we're taking down the Flagler Memorial Bridge. It was built in 1928. It was historic because it was Flagler's. And so they mandated that we prepare a video of Mr. Flagler, because he died before the bridge was actually built. And so I put a script together. Danny went out and found, I don't know where you found all those archive pictures, Danny, but so what it was, been a series of like flash cards, pictures, and then the text that I wrote. But what Danny did was I don't even know how you did it, Danny, but if you could just envision a picture, and then you started in the upper left corner of it, and then he would expand it and slide across it, and it made it look almost like a movie as it was going through.
It
And
was
then he
very
inserted some. It was
Ken Burns
fabulous.
effect.
Ken's burn effect, yeah.
Ken Burns effect, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was fabulous, and they the Flagler Museum down there asked if we could give them a copy of it, because they were so impressed with it. And so Danny would just, I didn't figure out how he did some of the stuff he did, but he was always there to come up with a creative solution. And he was really a partner to me in a very big way.
I remember on that project, this was years later after the bridge had been rebuilt, but that intersection on the West Palm side, there were still some improvements that were to be done, and they needed me to do. I think you asked me to do another, computer image, and I got out there and took a bunch of pictures from all different viewpoints, and I rendered up what was, what I'd been asked to do. And then fast forward, maybe 5 or 6 years later, and I happened to be in that area, like driving south from West Palm or heading north. And I look at that intersection, and I had to just pull over into the grass, because I went to the spot where I'd taken the pictures, and I was like, holy crap, that looks like just what I drove.
Oh gosh, it's been fun, Danny. It has been fun.
Yeah, there's lots of family lore of us going over bridges or being at intersections or making jokes about the drive around things, because they'll say, well, Kimley Horn did this bridge. Kimley Horn. Kids would be eye rolling.
Resemble that. Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Well, John, I mean, if you think this is a good time, I'd love to turn it over to you. Sure. And if you've got a few things to say, that would be great.
I thank you, and thank you for letting me, I'll say, wrap it up a bit. Let me first speak to Holly. We know we've asked a lot of Danny and asked a lot of you and your family for a lot of years. You were a great sport. You were there. Nobody does what we ask of people without a helping hand, and we know you were always there, and we appreciate all the sacrifices that you made for all of the years that Danny was sacrificing for us. Clearly, there's a lot of love between you. We see it in so many ways, and so thank you. Thank you for donating him to us, and it's our turn to turn him back to you. And I hope you get to enjoy him anywhere near as much as obviously we did, which I'm certain that you will. And to Danny, it's interesting because I hear a lot of the stories and the comments, and you can't help it. Oh yeah, I remember that, and I remember that, and oh yeah, that sounds like Danny, even if you didn't know the story. But my exposure with Danny was different than a lot of yours. I mean, a lot of yours was associated with doing marketing presentations and preparing stuff for that, and a lot of tension and a lot of stress. And I had a very unstressful interaction with Danny because we always did kickoffs together. I mean, it was easy, relaxing. You just, you finished it usually a few weeks in advance, and polished for a while. But,
were you going to a different kickoff, John?
Yeah, right.
But I look back at it, and Danny, it's interesting because I really don't feel like I knew you well until I came to West Palm. And then our interaction, changed a lot after I stepped out of the regional role. But, for that period of time that I had the privilege of working with you on kickoffs, those are some of the most fun, most enjoyable times. Not only putting things together and having you come up with ideas, I'd go like, well, only a guy with a left brain could come up with that. I never thought of that. And I mean, you always had something new that you'd come out. And then we'd end up with this end product. And my wife was always excited when we would host the after kickoff party at our house. And we would get to play the video that you had created for the opening skit. And that was the first time my wife ever got to see what it was that I was explaining to her that Danny had created. So it's, a lot of people when they think about, how to contribute, I think in the end, what we really want is to leave a legacy and leave fingerprints on others. And you've done that. There are a lot of people, the people who've been on this call and people who I'm sure wish they could have been on this call, who will look back at their time at Kimley Horn and think of you. Think of your laugh, think of your creativity, think of your support, your ability to help us get through some stressful things. And that's wonderful. And so while your time with us may be coming to an end, your time in our hearts isn't going away anytime soon. So thank you. on behalf of me and on behalf of the firm for a wonderful career, for tremendous contribution to our success. We couldn't have done it without you. Holly, yes, thank you. And that the flowers are a small token of appreciation, but noteworthy in as much as we just want to make sure you realize how much we really do appreciate what you did. And I believe that you may be holding something that we want Danny to get, unless you've already taken care of it for us.
Oh, it was hidden.
Oh,
wow.
See the creativity in the house. We're going to hide the gift card behind this, thing on the wall. So, Danny, just a small token of our appreciation for your commitment to Kimley Horn over the years. I hope you find an enjoyable and fun place to spend that. And really do thank you on behalf of myself and on behalf of the firm for everything that you have done. So I'll tell you what I'd like to do, if it's okay with y'all. I'd like to turn it over to Danny and Holly, and if there's anything y'all'd like to say before we let the afternoon come to an end. Certainly, you're the one that we're honoring today.
Well, this has been fun. It's a lot like we would go to shareholders or one of the Christmas parties or the holiday picnic, because it was filled with happy people telling me how wonderful my husband is, and it was hard not to just say yeah. So I just really appreciate that you came together today to honor him. He's really enjoyed working with you all, and his creativity is something that I'm just happy that he's been able to share with you, and thank you so much.
Well, I just have to say these past 20 years, 21 years seems like it just went by so quickly, too quickly. But just all of the friends that I've made in the office, and especially those opportunities to go out to other offices, and whether it was working on presentations or video projects, had a lot of fun. If Gary Nadeau is still on putting together all those bridges in Southwest Florida, and just amazing times. It just feels like it was all yesterday, and met so many dear friends, and certainly want to keep in touch with those who are around this area, and looking forward to taking some time off and helping out where I can. So what a wonderful firm. It's just amazing. We came out of the recession years ago and just came out fighting, and I'll always be so proud to be a part of the Kimley Horn family, and to have left the legacy and made so many great friends over the years. I'll have very fond memories. So thank you for all of this. It's just really wonderful. It was very surprising, and just love you all very much.
You got it. Well said, Danny. Well, thank you.
Well said.
We'll put together. We're collecting all this videos and pictures, and we'll figure out a way to get that over to you, so you can start to collect some of this stuff. This was a lot of fun. I hope we care about you. You've been fantastic. We love you, and we're so happy for you and Holly and the family. And it's been awesome, man. So look forward to seeing you around, and thank you everyone who joined. This was great. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
Danny.
Bye.
Thank you, Danny.
All right. Thank you, Danny.
thank you.
Gail, don't forget to hit stop, or
Oh, yes, thank you. Whatever I need to do. I don't know.
Stop automatically. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
No,
All
wait, no.
right.
So Terry, anything else we need to do just for this, or you think we're? No, he left.
He left. I guess we're good.
We're good. Okay. Thank you for recording.
Thank you all
Bye,
so
guys.
much. It was good.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hang on. Give me a sec. Hey. Hi. Yeah. Just trying to, I think I was able to save the comments. Lisa was on, like, Lisa, can you just ever let me get on one call without having to send me a message that I've got to get distracted? Oh, shit, where the hell are they? There we go. Yeah, no, that was good. And it was funny. I'm sorry. There we go. I got him. Okay.